may want to grab your tissues and What's up, Kayla J team? This short Netflix movie is Maid. Maid is a 10 episode piece with 1 hour of playing time. If you do plan on watching Maid, you may want to grab your tissues and bawl your eyes out. After watching Maid, I would say, it took me kind of on an emotional roller coaster of up and down. Description of Maid. Maid is about a single mother, Alex, who turns house cleaning to make ends meet as she escapes an abusive relationship and overcomes homelessness to create a better life for her daughter, Maddie. I kind of binge watched this show because it was so good. I mean, it was good to me, in my opinion. I would binge watch it because I really liked it. When I first started watching this show, it kept me hooked. And I didn't get bored. I mean, normally I get bored of shows really quickly. This show hit the hammer on the nail. And I would say from the beginning of the show, I was emotionally engaged. I felt everything she basically felt. It made me feel like I was there with them in the movie. Right at the beginning, you're brought into this relationship where it's this broken couple. It starts off very toxic, I would say. She has this guy she's with, which is the baby's father. And the baby's father, he acts like he would want to harm her. So she feels like she should basically leave the house. I would say the show could be very much toxic to some people because it really displays how relationships work. In a relationship, out of relationship, in a relationship, back and forth during the time. Mother, she left the house, which is Alex. Alex, she found herself in this situation of where she really didn't know what to do. She left the house the middle of the night from the man she was with to find a safer place for her and her child, Maddie. We see how she ends up in this shelter for basically women that has been physically abused. And the show is basically like you get to see how the mother, the father treated her during these times of vulnerableness. She had to make it out of this deep hole she was in, since she left this guy. And this home that they go to, it's more like it makes women feel better about themselves. They give them shelter, clothing, food, and basically it keeps the women in domestically abuse safe. And it's like every single episode is really different. It keeps you on the edge of your couches. And this show really shows that, people struggling really go through a really hard time. She didn't have a job and she needed a shelter for her child, Maddie. And now that Maddie needs a house with the mother, they couldn't get into a house because she had no proof of pay. She's always lived under her husband's house and she never worked or anything. The thing about Alex though is she was a really independent woman. I would say she was. She did anything to get her child off the streets. They went to the ferry. They slept on the floor a night, and it just shows different ways she tried to help her daughter get through the nights that was mostly hard. She's a really strong fighter. She did whatever she could for her daughter at the end of the day. And it just shows how all good relationships end up coming to an end. And it shows this melting pot of like the steps on how everything happened. Like the way this movie described it and showed everybody is that, it can happen so quickly. This couple was in love. They had a child together. And that is a beautiful thing. But the guy ended up becoming, a drunkie to beer. And, he would act crazy and get mad whenever he would be drunk, and that just affected their whole lifestyle where they had to change. Her child Maddie kept her going every day. Some things in this series I would wonder, like, wow, she keeps going, and she doesn't give up at all. Everything she experiences, when people volunteer to help her and then they turn their backs on her, she still keeps going and she finds her way out of everything, even though things do not work for her. I would say every actor in Maid was a great actor. From the mom, she was so hilarious in each episode. Like the way she acts, you would think it was real and that's how she really acts in real life, but that's not how she really acts. She acts a special. I never seen an actress act like she does throughout the whole thing. Andie Medell was a great woman. She lived beyond her standards. She didn't care what anyone else thought. Alex's mom is a very phenomenal art lady, and she has a very wide imagination on, her ideas about art. Shows how broken she is as much as her daughter is. So when people are broken and abused, you automatically think that they went through some type of physical abuse, but no, it's mental abuse that you can go through. When I seen Billy Burke, I was like, oh wow, he's really in here, because he's in there as a father figure. I see him as a father figure on each movie he's in, and he was a father figure on Twilight, so it just made a flashback come to my head, like, oh wow, he is the father. So it's pretty easy to keep up with his role in this show. And he wasn't a good father at first, but he came around for his daughter to beat up Alex's mom when she was younger. And Alex didn't like him anymore after they got out that situation. And I really like how it shows how some women are supposed to be strong. But at the end of the day, women can be strong all day, but they're still going to have these breaking points that they have and these new ages they enter into that they have to be stronger. At the end of the show, when Maddie gets ready to go to college, she has a hard time letting go of her mother because she took care of her mother most of her life. Because so many women have a hard time getting out of a home where they've been mentally, physically, or emotionally abused. And if you're abused, a woman should not be afraid to speak up, even though the man may hurt her. Or if she speaks up, at the end of the day, it'll make her feel better. And at the end of the day, she's doing what's best for her child and herself. But I did feel like Alex was put in situations where it was really easy for her. It was really easy for Alex because she had all these people that wanted to help her. Most women don't have these people, resources, places to go, shelters. And every time she get herself in a crunch, she would always have a plan, or someone will pop up in the show and have a place for her to stay. I feel like that kind of was a flaw, because she was never really that homeless, because most homeless women will either live in their car for days or not have a shelter at all. She had it good as a woman who's been through everything she has with her baby father. Also, I feel like the baby father messed it up with Nate and everything she had going for herself as far as the apartment she got. And he broke in. I really felt like that was wrong of him. And if I was her, I would never want to come out, honestly. And she was very strong. She still dealt with him, even though she got kicked out the apartment she dreamed of and all that. And, she really ruined a lot of things for her and almost ruined her going to college on her own. I would say Maid was a really good show, and I recommend watching it. It was a good series. And be prepared for the emotional roller coaster where you may feel like you're involved in it as well. You will most definitely feel like you're a part of this show, Maid. And if you watch Maid, let me know in the comments on your thoughts about Maid. And thank you all for watching today. If you enjoyed watching me today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tap that notification bell if you like to see more of this content.